G'day, I'm Brett, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the upgrades we've done to our Stockman Pod Extreme trailer. So these trailers come incredibly well configured for genuine off-road touring to start with, but there's just a couple of extra things that I wanted to add to ours that I think is really critical when you're doing off-road work. Now, all the things I'm going to show you and talk about in this video I had installed by a company called Custom Off-Grid Solutions. They do all my 12-volt work and a lot of my accessory work in my camper trailers and my vehicles. I do highly recommend their work on the basis that I've paid to get the things done that are done to my equipment. And I've had a great experience with them. So as I talk through these things, just wanted to make it clear that the actual technical work of these things were done by Cogs. So just by way of introduction, the initial set of improvements here were about giving me power. So these trailers don't come with power to start with. Everybody has really personal choices in how they do power. So I'm going to show what we've done with power. I've also improved or upgraded the water delivery. So I'll talk about that. I also increased some of my storage capacity for gas, and I'll talk about why I did that. And a couple other small things that Cogs have done to really just make it a little bit more usable for me. So that's what this video is about. Let's dive in. Okay. So the biggest upgrade that I've made is in the power area, and I want to show you how we've done that. We've added the battery inside the toolbox, and the quality of the work's just exceptional. But let's take a look. So this is a pretty big toolbox to start with. So if you take a look inside, as this option comes from Stockman, it doesn't have this unit in it, it's just the toolbox. But what I've added here is all the power control systems are inside this beautifully boot-lined box. You'll see the top of the box has venting built into it. So this is all the handiwork of Custom Off-Grid Solutions. What you can't see inside there is a couple of things. Number one, there's a slimline lithium battery. So there's a 200 amp hour lithium battery inside here. I've found that for off-road camping and off-road camper trailers, 200 amp hours is a really good sweet spot. You can run fridges, you can charge laptops and phones and all that kind of stuff. You can get 2 or 3 days of what I'd call sort of normal camping, base camping use before you touch it with any solar or any other charging. So 200 amp hour, really good sweet spot. But they found a slimline one for me from Enerdrive. And so that goes across the back, and that's allowed us to optimize the space in here. So still plenty of room to put spare walls and recovery gear and other things in the toolbox, but also to have that gear in there. So slimline battery in there, but also our DC chargers in here as well. It's also Bluetooth enabled, so when things are up and charging, you can grab your phone, you can get the status of what's going on with the batteries. So that's all tucked inside the box. So that now gives me power. So when I'm in a remote location, I've got power off the trailer. So I feel that's really important. You can have power in your vehicle as well, but when you're camping, you kind of want the power next to you. You want to be able to power your fridge, etc. So battery chargers inside here. Just to help with some charging, I've actually got them to put both SIG, so there's actually 2 cigarette sockets in here, but I've also added 4 USB sockets in here. So what's nice about adding them inside the toolbox is that if I'm on camp, the weather might be average, I can pop a couple of things inside here and have them charging straight off here, knowing that they're tucked away, potentially even locked away inside the toolbox, knowing that they're safe. So that's a really nice option that we've added in the power here. All right, I think we'll step away from here and then I'll show you some of the other options. If you're enjoying the content we're producing on the I Love Dirt channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the like button to let other people know what we're doing and for you to stay up to date with the content we're producing. So just coming back up to the front of the trailer now and talking about the power improvements that I've made on the Pod Extreme. So I've got the Anderson here, and that runs through to the DC charger that's in the toolbox. So when we're driving, I can be charging that lithium battery off the vehicle, and it'll take 30 amps into the battery. So a couple of hours of driving in the vehicle and you're going to top that battery up really, really quickly. So that comes through from the vehicle. But the other thing that's been added to the trailer here is a solar input. So when we're static at camp, I can plug a solar blanket or a solar panel into this socket, and again that feeds through to the DC charger. So when I'm stopped, I've got a way to keep that battery charged as well. So that's where my solar comes into the system. All right, so let's take a walk down the side and I'll show you some of the other electrical or power upgrades that we've made to the trailer. All right, so next upgrade on power is a weatherproof connector on the side here, and this is for 240 volt. So if I'm at a caravan park or if I'm at home and I want to charge that lithium battery, I don't have to pull a cord or drape a cord out or try and leave the toolbox open. We've got a proper weather sealed input for power, so I just put my power lead on that and run it off to wherever the power source is. So that's a nice addition there on the side of the toolbox. Now in terms of the power, the other things that I've done is I've added to the side of the trailer, I've added a cigarette and 2 USBs up here towards the front of the trailer, so they're just there on the side. And then I added another cigarette and pair of USBs here on the side as well. This tends, because this side's under the awning, this is kind of where you're living during the day or where you're stopped. So I thought it'd be good to add some power options there. The SIGs will let me run, say, some lighting under the awning. The USBs will let me charge phones and other accessories. So just having them tucked in along the side there, absolute nice accessory. And I want to introduce our puppy. So if you hear a bit of barking in the back, that's Josie, our puppy, and you'll see Josie in videos, don't you worry. So one last thing on power. I've actually run an Anderson lead that's actually, right now it's up underneath the trailer. And it's just a 12 volt circuit that's come to the back with an Anderson plug on the end. What I'm going to do with that plug in the future, once I just get worked out what I'm going to do inside the tub, it'll give me a place to be able to plug my fridge in to an Anderson connector, which is a really good solid connector. So in the short term, I'll just use the SIGs on the side, but while I had all the electrical work done, I made sure I ran a circuit back here with an Anderson plug on the end, and it's just coiled up underneath the trailer. But just thought I'd share that, because when you're thinking about electrical work with your trailer, always think about things you might want to do in the future, because it's easier to get those things installed when they're building up the circuitry, when they're doing the installation work. All right, so that's just a quick overview of the power upgrades. Now I'm going to show you some of the other improvements that Cogs have made. Cheers. So the next set of improvements I've made to the Pod Extreme are in the area of water delivery. So the 60 litre optional tank works really well, and it comes with a manual hand pump that you just clip on the end of the trailer here. But I've found with all the camping that I've done with Camper Trailer, it's so much more convenient if you can just turn on a tap and get water delivery, or if you're dealing with some sort of kitchen around in the living area, again, to be able to just turn the tap on in the kitchen and get the water delivered is so much more convenient, particularly when you're camping for a couple of days. And you know what? It's actually not hard to do the upgrades to get that kind of capability. So what Cogs have done for me here is that in behind the toolbox, they've actually installed a SureFlow water pump, a 12 volt water pump that runs off the power system, and it's tucked in right in the middle there. I'll do a close-up, but it's tucked in right up behind the toolbox. It's all nicely protected, but it's still accessible if I need to do any servicing. So that's tucked in behind there. But when I want to use that water pump, all I need to do is, there's a weatherproof switch just here on the side of the trailer. I'll flick that on. You'll see the light come on and you can hear the pump running. That primes the system, and that then, with that turned on, I then have the ability to be able to access my water. That priming, right now it keeps running because the tank's currently empty. I've got to fill it up again. But normally what happens with those pumps is you turn that on, it loads, it pressurizes the system, and then the pump stops running. When you turn a tap on, the pump comes on automatically and delivers the water. The other thing that I did is I switched over from the manual pump to a proper tap. So down here, there's actually a tap attached to the trailer. Makes it super easy to get to water if I need to fill a bucket or something like that. It's got a handle on it. I just swing that around and there's water delivery. I've put a standard garden fitting on here because I've got a series of hoses and things like that in my vehicle that allow me to fill buckets and different things. Or if I'm using something like the Julka hot water system, I can just hook onto that connector. So that's some improvements we've made to water delivery. I'm going to step around to the back of the trailer and show one more aspect of that system as well. And so another aspect of the water system, the water upgrade system that I've done, is I've had a water outlet run to the back of the trailer here. So if I decide to set up a kitchen in this area, I'll be able to hook a hose into that with a tap, and when the system's turned on, I'll be able to turn the tap on and have water delivered at pressure to me here at the back of the trailer. This is the living area of the trailer, so it makes a lot of sense to bring water back. So in addition to the pump and the switching and the tap up the front, we've also got a water outlet here at the back. So here's another improvement we've made to the trailer. This is just a small one, but the trailer did have a pole storage box here. It was a classic PVC pipe storage, but it had one fixed end, so one end was glued shut so you couldn't get into the poles, and the other end had the door on it. So Cogs did a couple of things for me. So they added a door at the other end, so I can get access to the poles from either end. So that's just about convenience. But the other thing they did is they Raptor-coated it, which is just a simple thing, but painting that PVC pipe up in Raptor-coat just makes it look all a little bit nicer and a little bit more, you know, a bit more professional. So I love that they did that. Now, another small improvement I made is I had a second gas bottle holder added to the trailer. So it had one, and I've added a second. Now what I've found with my camping, I've done a lot of camping and I've done a lot of trailer camping, 1 4-kilo gas bottle generally isn't enough for a longer trip, but also absolutely guaranteed if you've only got one of something, it's going to run out. You're going to forget to have filled or whatever else. So I've found having 2 gas bottles means that even if you forget to fill one and you're out on a sort of a week-long trip, that you've got a second one ready to go. But also in my use cases, often I'll have 1 gas bottle running my Joulka hot water shower system, and I'll have the other gas bottle running my stove and my cooking. So the pod trailer is set up for it. They sell the bottle holders as an accessory, and they're actually a universal fit, so you can just buy 2 of them and you have one on each side. So that's a small improvement we've added to the trailer. So one more improvement we made. This was actually more of an adjustment. So the pod trailer is optioned with the awning frame that has these gas struts on it that make it easy for you to pop up the awning to lift it up. But what I found for us, and with this particular model of awning, that the gas struts that were on it were a little bit too, they were gassed up, the Newton meters of it, they were gassed up a little bit too high. And what I was finding, it was a little bit difficult to pull the awning down. 2 people could do it super easy, no problem. But often I'll camp by myself, and I wanted to make sure that it was easy for me to do. So the folks at Cogs basically just replaced the gas struts with some, they're about, I think they said about 100 Newton meters less force. It just means that it still pops up no drama, but it actually pulls down a little bit more easily too. Having the less pressure doesn't worry me when I'm actually out camping, because when it's actually set up camping, there are pins in it, and these lock handles are locked in. So it's only about lifting and bringing it back down. So that was a little adjustment we made just to change those gas struts that just suited this setup really nicely. So that's a quick walk around, just showing the improvements that I've made to my Stockman Pod Extremes trailer. The key things again were just, I've added power, and I've got power sockets around the trailer now, so I've got an ability to power different things on camp. I improved the water delivery system by adding the 12-volt water pump, and I've now got pressurized tap on the side and the option for water to a kitchen at the back if I need it. I've improved slightly the gas struts for the awning, lifting and lowering the awning, and I've Cogs Raptor-coated the pole PVC pipe that makes that look really nice. So and we added a second gas bottle holder. So look, that's a couple of improvements that really dramatically improve what happens when you're out on camp. So just wanted to share that with you in case they're things that you might consider for your camping experience as well. Thanks everybody. Cheers.